Yes, YouTube. How you all doing? Video now. I got a story for you all. Pretty shocking to be honest. There was this guy started going out with this woman, right? To get into a relationship. And like all relationships, everything was good at the start. Right? Everything was alright. We were buying her gifts. We were going to her house, staying over, taking her on dates, stuff like that. And just a normal relationship. For the first, I'd say about 6 months. For the first 6 months, it was all right, and then, what happens. In abusive relationships, everybody, people that commit that, start showing the true colours after a while. Not at first. So she shows up after about 6 months. They move in together, right? And normal relationship, she starts, the moving, he moves in. And then after about a couple of weeks of him moving in, this woman starts telling him what to do, what to eat, what to wear. Right? And then, it progressed to every time he wanted to go out somewhere, she'd check his phone to see if he'd been texting other women, right? So she kept looking for his phone, about a week or two, like it went on for. And then she started taking his bank card off him. Right. And then it just progressed. She started hitting him. She started abusing him. She started doing all nasty things to him, violent things, assaults, hitting him with weapons, the list goes on, right? So he kept going out, frequently, because that's what, just living his life, going out frequently, right? And she noticed that it was sort of like, he was acting out differently. His personality had changed, right? To what he was, prior, right? So, kept going out, coming back later on the night, more. Every night he'd go out, he'd come back later, and later, and later, and later. So, she kept asking him, "Are you okay? Is everything all right?" Just acting a bit strange, odd. He said, "Oh, no, everything's done. I'm all right. So, one night I was asleep. Right? She waits till he's asleep. She creeps over him, gets the phone off the nightstand, gets his phone's on charge, so she gets the phone, looks through the phone, right? Scrolling down through his messages and all that lot. And she come to this one contact, she should have been looking through his phone anyway, why are you looking through his phone? It's insecurities again, right? So she come to this certain contact. She looked on it, and it said a girl's name on it. I'm not going to mention what name it was. It said a girl's name on it. So she goes going crazy, starts screaming, wakes him up, right? Wakes him up. And she shows him the phone and the contact, and he says, "What?" She says, "What's this number?" And he goes, "I'll tell you in the morning. Let's go back to sleep. She goes, "Okay then, but we need to talk about this in the morning." Screaming, shouting. So eventually she goes back to bed. He goes back to bed. So she waits. She has something else in mind. She ain't letting this go easily. So she waits till he's asleep. Waits about a good hour and a half, till you cracked out of sleep. So she goes downstairs. She thinks, fuck this. It's not gonna. No. She knew it was cheating. She knew, because she seen it done. So she goes downstairs, boils the kettle. She's fucking fuming inside. She boils that motherfucking kettle, and that you can hear it going. At the end when it's nearly boiling. So she thinks, fuck, that fucker's getting double. So she boils the kettle again. She boils the kettle again, right? Hot, serious stuff. She boils the kettle again till it's really hot, like it's, like froth. So she's really hot this now. It's like a fucking volcano. I'm talking volcano. Right? She goes upstairs with a kettle full of water, full of hot, scalding water. She just throws back the sheets like that, pours all the water all over him, all the water sticking to him, all his face is dripping like that, and all blood all over the place as well, and she beats him to death. She throws hot water over him, scalding hot water, and then after that, she beats him to death. Right? How evil can you get, right? You put in boiling hot water over somebody, and then that's not enough. You gotta beat him to death as well. I was like, what the fuck? When I came across this article online about this story, I was like, what the fuck is going on nowadays? And this wasn't in the UK either. It was in America. This happened in the States, a couple of months back, couple of weeks back, something like that. And I saw it and I was reading it and I read the story, man. That's serious stuff. Serious stuff. See what people are like nowadays? People are wicked, man. Evil motherfuckers are wicked and evil, bro. That's the only explanation. Why would you do something like that, man? That's to your own boyfriend as well. Anyway, so she gets sent to jail for like 50 years, 50, 60 years. Yeah, no, she got 75 years in prison. That's what it was, 75 years. For fuck all. Man, you just leave the dude, you don't have to stay with somebody. You can leave anytime. Right? Anyway, I will get back to you shortly.